Today's episode is brought to you by Made for Life Organics, a skincare company that puts your well-being at first. I've never met with another company with more integrity and authenticity. They hand blend all of their products in Cornwall. They're true organic products. They really combine science with nature, and they want to bring the nature in. But most importantly, to them, it's really about keeping and making sure the microbiome of your skin stays intact and doesn't get disrupted. They have worked with cancer patients for decades. Amanda, the founder, has not just supported today's podcast episode so that I can get these conversations out to you. They've also helped us with other projects in our organization. They're really amazing, and I can't thank them enough. They're also quite disruptive in the spa industry. They want to ensure that people with a history of cancer can get access to spa treatments, which is amazing. Amanda is a hippie, she's a rebel, and I want to be lots more like Amanda. She's so authentic as well. So go check out Made for Life Organics if you really want to look at holistic skincare products that are good for you, good for your skin, with the right ingredients. They really walk the talk. And if you go to their website, madeforlifeorganics.com, they've even given us a discount code, which I'm so excited to share with you. It's MENO20. That's capital letters MENO 20, and it gives you 20% off. So head over to madeforlifeorganics.com, have a little look around and really enjoy what you see. They bring nature in, and I'm so grateful for their support. Welcome to the Menopause and Cancer podcast, where we speak with cancer patients, survivors, and incredible experts in their fields to help us find solutions to our symptoms and ideas to improve our health. My name is Danny Binnington, and I'm delighted to have this really important conversation about cancer touch therapy and how to be your most authentic self. I'm so grateful and delighted I can bring today's guest to you. Amanda Winwood has become the most inspirational person for me in my own life over the last year. She is a hippie, she is a rebel at heart, and she's the most authentic person I have met. And I want to be like Amanda in so many different ways. I want to do as well as her in business. She has got a career that is incredible, and I want to be as authentic as Amanda as well. And so she's been a real important part of my life. I don't think she knows it, but I'm saying it here to all of you. And I'm really grateful I can introduce her to you and to have this conversation with this amazing woman. She is the founder of the Made for Life Organics brand. That's a skincare company based in Cornwall, and they've recently been awarded the King's Award for Sustainability. She's also the visionary behind the Made for Life Foundation, a charity in Cornwall which supports people living with cancer. And she's also a disruptor in the spa industry and the creator of the cancer touch therapy, working towards cancer patients being able to have safe massages and therapies in spas all over the world. Because I'm not sure about you. Have you ever gone to a spa and did you need to fill in the little checkbox where it says, have you got a history of cancer? I've spoken to many people who were actually turned away. Many people have actually not been very honest, and they just ignored the form and lied on the form. And we'll talk about all of that in this conversation. We'll also talk about plants and nature and why playing music to some products might be of benefit. This conversation is so multifaceted, and I really hope it inspires you also to embrace your inner hippie, your inner rebel, and your most authentic you. Welcome, Amanda, onto the show. Amanda, welcome to the podcast. How are you today?
I am very well. Thank you very, very much.
Amanda, you are one of the sort of key reasons why I love doing what we're doing so much, because you make our podcast conversations come to life. And only just last week, we had this live event at beautiful Coworth Park that you made happen for 20 ladies in our community. It was amazing, wasn't it? What a lovely day.
Well, do you know what? I had a long drive back to Cornwall afterwards. Had to take a little sneaky nana nap on the way back down. But what can I say? Well, first of all, well done you, because actually it was just joyful to be in that room and witness the openness and connections within that room. But also, I mean, Coworth's just beautiful anyhow. And I was so delighted that everybody was able to go and have a hand on heart treatment as well. So, well, thank you. It was joyful is what it was.
Yeah. It was. And I'm just going to fill people in a little bit so they at home understand how it works. So I was invited by Amanda for a massage therapy myself at beautiful Calworth Park over 6 months ago, wasn't it, Amanda?
It was.
And all along I was podcasting and I was getting all of these conversations out, and I thought, I'm sure I've talked about everything. But I had a massage myself, and I said to you afterwards, this was one of the first massages I had since my own cancer treatment. And I know everyone knows this is many years ago now. I always felt quite shy going to a massage after my double mastectomy. I personally feel uncomfortable lying flat, unless it's a very soft bed on my tummy. And you need to fill in these forms. And I was turned away once, and then I never went back. And the one time I did, I sort of lied. Anyway, I don't know if people can resonate with that at home, but you create these beautiful massages. You invited me, and I thought on that day, oh, wow, maybe one day we could bring our community and some of the people that listen to this podcast, and you made it happen, Amanda. So I can't thank you enough. We turned up. We didn't have to pay for anything as an organization. You liaise with all of these amazing spas across the country, and you hosted us, and it was very special. So thank you very much.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. It's what makes me leap out of bed in the morning. I love it. I'm like making change, and think that everybody has an absolute right to be nurtured, loved, cared for in a spa environment. And to your point, Danny, about you lying, so the statistics are that in 2003, 96% of spas were turning people away with cancer. It's down to 78 now. But interestingly enough, when you lied, you were one of the statistic is that 70% of women lie who've gone through cancer so they can get a spa treatment. And we're trying to change that so that women don't need to lie. They can be honest, open, authentic, and then their treatment that they have will be bespoke to them by a properly qualified therapist.
Yeah. You are a woman that wears many hats. I said that before when I introduced you at Calworth Park. You sometimes say I'm a bit of a hippie, but actually you're a real rebel, Amanda. You are a disruptor of the beauty industry. You're a disruptor of the spa industry. And just for context, Calworth Park is a 5-star hotel with a 5-star spa. It's part of the Dorchester collection. I don't assume, and I don't know, correct me, right, that it was easy to change the culture in who they accept to give treatments to. How did all of that start? Like, why would you even think, I'm going to change that cancer patients can get access to beautiful massages? Where did all of that happen?
Well, first of all, to answer the first part of that question, how do you influence people to open their doors to people living with cancer in spas? You have to have really receptive, good, innovative, open-minded, compassionate leaders at the helm. So Teresa O'Farrell, who's the Global Director of Wellness for the Dorchester Collection, certainly is the epitome of all of those things. And we tend to connect with spas who are open-minded. Where did it start? I am formerly a hotelier, so I ran 3 hotels, 2 of them in Cornwall, and one of them, Budoc Veen, I discovered that my team in my spa were turning away people with cancer, and as a trained therapist, massage therapist and Reiki master, I didn't really understand why, Danny. So I went on a bit of a mission. This is back in 2003 to discover why, and fear. Fear is the word that I found was prevalent. Fear from insurance companies about providing insurance for spas to welcome people with cancer. Fear within beauty colleges who were training level 3 students who were studying beauty, massage, etc., that cancer was contraindicated. So this started at grassroots, and fear of what happens. So this it was like I don't know. It was like opening a Pandora's box of confusion, and so I don't like confusion in life. So I decided go on a bit of a mission to sort of find out why, and connected with the Royal Cornwall Healthcare Trust, in particular the Mermaid Centre, who are the breast cancer unit down in Cornwall. I spoke to some amazing oncology surgeons and so on, and went on a quest which lasted 18 months to find out why. And at the end of that 18 months, I hadn't found a why. I'd found out why not invite people into a therapist, a massage therapist's room with the right knowledge. So that's quite a long answer to your question, but all I'd like to say is that I spoke to many, many people who were within the NHS, who were senior oncologists and specialists. And I always remember one of them saying to me, I have a few words to say to you, Amanda. Cancer, no. Massage, yes. So it was just, and it's finding out what needs to happen, because everybody who are going through cancer is going on a different journey. So they have different treatments. We're all different as human beings. So the premise of what we do at Made for Life it's Made for Life Organics and the Made for Life Foundation, which are two of my hats, is to make sure that everyone is treated as an individual. And I'm not stopping until that 78% is gone and as a thing of the past, so that every human being with any long-term health condition, whether it's cancer, menopause-induced menopause induced through cancer, anything, can just walk in to an independent massage therapist, a spa or anywhere, and just go, you are welcome. You are welcome. Yeah.
And I would love to run a poll here now with everyone that is listening to this conversation of what people's experiences are. Are people thinking, gosh, yes, I would have quite liked to go to a massage at one point, but I wasn't sure whether it was safe for me. Maybe I couldn't reach my cancer nurse and I didn't know whether it was okay. Maybe they also felt that the forms were in their way many years on, when they felt very safe back in their body, but the form still asks you, have you had a history of cancer? And what do you say? Yes, no. So it's, or where people turned away. We heard it in Calworth Park that people said, yes, I too was turned away, and it's embarrassing. And then it's very unlikely that you'll go back. And on the other hand, we know, or I've hardly met a cancer survivor who wasn't very anxious for a prolonged period of time in their recovery post-diagnosis. And a massage could be one of those beautiful tools that helps you really stimulate your parasympathetic nervous system, calm down, allow touch, be safe in someone else's hands when you've maybe lost control over so many aspects of your life. And it's bringing those two together, because it can be such a helpful tool, can't it?
Absolutely. And so we did a knowledge transfer program with Plymouth University, which lasted 18 months. And we had a biochemist come into our lab who looked at all the essential oils within every single product. But what she also did is she worked with an oncopharmacologist based at Plymouth University, who was one of the cohorts within the knowledge transfer program, and Rich Billington, not Billington, so he's definitely not related to you, but he was a botanist and really knew about the phytochemicals within plants. And we put that together, and then we developed some strategies around touch and how does touch work. And as you know, I'm working with an amazing neuroscientist, Louise, who is incredible. So there is something incredible about how do you use touch. So anybody who's been in to have a massage may, if I talk about this, may understand that the long, smooth, flowing movements that you get over your back are a thing called effleurage. So they're the lovely bits where you go, ooh, that feels good. And then the petrissage movements are where you go in, really put pressure onto the muscles to release tension. And those are the ones you go, wow, sometimes you can't wait for those to be over. But what we discovered during this knowledge transfer program, that actually, and to your point about reaching the parasympathetic, that, I mean, the body is the skin is the largest organ of the body. And those little sensors on our skins are receptors that send amazing messages to the brain. So if we slow that down and we introduce slow, rhythmical, gentle, slow touch, and we introduce the addition of beautiful scent, something magic happens. Something magic happens. And what we did as part of the knowledge transfer program is we took different cohorts of people, including some people who were suffering from PTSD. So we worked with men as well, and we took MRI scans, and we took blood pressure levels, and we were able to actually ascertain that you get the same results from a really bespoke, gentle, quiet, calming massage as you will do from anything that involves deep pressure massage, which is not such a great thing to have with some cancer conditions. So, yeah, so your treatment that you had was bespoke to you on that day. And I know that every single hand on heart will have been tailored to that beautiful human being that walked into that room.
Yeah. And it's just amazing when you bring different sciences together to really understand the impact of something, because we can have so much anecdotal evidence of saying, oh, that felt relaxing and that was lovely. But seeing all of this on MRI scans and bringing all these different scientists together to work on your formulations is really, really quite something special and validating, isn't it, for you as well? Because it's just so wonderful to then think, well, how can we elevate this and how can we get it out to more people?
Absolutely. And I think it's a very good point. You know, validation is one thing. It's quite interesting as human beings how I think women in particular have imposter syndrome. We all need validation of some sort. But when you're using it to underpin, so I have a strong connection and belief system that connects me essentially to the power of plants, which came from childhood and my mum just loving plants and being a very unique human being. So that's inherent in me. And I think many of us are too busy, and there's so much evidence to suggest the power of nature and how it boosts our T cells, that connection with nature. So on a simple basis, some people suffer from pain during cancer treatment and can't, maybe are restricted in movement to go and for a brisk walk or something like that. But actually, a 1 hour massage is equivalent to 8 hours of sleep, Danny. So beautifully healing happens in that 1 hour on many, many levels. Sleep is a beautiful thing. It's our healing system, and our brain still works and does its thing during that time. So having a massage and being connected and smelling the scents of what's out there, and oh, that smells like rose, and oh, what's that, and allowing your mind to flow. You could almost describe it as it's a mind garden, having a beautiful treatment where you're using scents as well as a beautiful slow touch that's compassionate. So and the results are there. So we've been gathering data, and we found that 99.1% of the women that we've spoken to who've come in and had touch therapy treatments felt much better after, felt more relaxed, felt like it was a time to catch the breath, a reset, etc. So we've been gathering data as well as an ongoing process.
And it comes at a time where, well, it depends when you go to your massage after a cancer treatment, but often the touch we've had was very prodded. I'm just going to talk for myself now, but going through cancer treatment and follow-ups, it was very much things were done to me, my body was handled and touched, and whether it was surgery, and then even the recovery period for myself wasn't necessarily very nurturing. It was more practical, but that's just me because I'm Austrian, practical, sort of down to earth sort of person like that. But then intimacy sort of went out a little bit, even hugging like very close family members, because, with post-mastectomy scars, it was a little bit more removed, less long. Intimacy with my husband really changed for a long period of time. And so touch is less maybe when you're an adult anyway, isn't it? Like I really hold my children so close still. I don't let go, but I do know as they grow older, that sort of touch becomes less with other people and that self-touch becomes less. And now understanding the importance of what that touch does to you. You know, if you don't sleep very well, so many people say, I'm really worried, I haven't been sleeping. I know how important sleep is. If you know you can get the same benefit just for an hour's massage, that's 8 hours sleep, like, wow, that's already reducing my anxiety levels over the flipping sleep, you know? I had no idea.
Yeah.
When
And
you talked about,
sorry.
yeah, no, tell me.
Well, it's an interesting one, and I think there's a lot that people. I don't know. I think people lose confidence. I think through having cancer, anyhow. And your story is not unique. I was with a group of people after I left you, and we ran an event down with the Macmillan Cove in Cornwall, and there were 6 women who were all going all similar stories. Oh my goodness, you know, I haven't had a massage. Where can I get one? I signposted them because I also am a trustee on the board of the Standards Authority for Touch in Cancer Care, which is the SATCC. So I'd encourage any listeners who think, ooh, I think I deserve this, to go on to the SATCC website and have a look, because there's an absolutely brilliant spa finder section there where you can pop in your postcode and find where you can get a beautiful massage. But to your point,
that's a great tip.
To your point about touch, and I think there are all sorts of inhibiting factors that happen, almost maybe self-protection when you're going through cancer, because you're to lovely Carly Musa, who spoke recently at Sparfest in Cornwall. I loved her thing is less fear, more fearless. But I think, you know, there's a transition that sits between those. Those. And I think touch, allowing yourself to think, I'm worthy to be touched, to be nurtured, to be loved, is a big deal. And that's where sometimes going in to see a massage therapist is almost a stepping stone, Danny, because it's with somebody you don't know who's going to be very different to the people that you've been seeing in a clinical environment often. What I'm delighted to say is, you know, there I am sitting with a nurse and the clinical psychologist at the Cove who are introducing some of this stuff into the NHS. Hallelujah. Amazing. And they want us to be part of that with the Made for Life Foundation, which, you know, I run and is close to my heart.
Yeah, that's just creating the change at the bigger level, isn't it? For anyone out there listening, they'll probably think, yes, this is what Danny is trying to do. You know, so desperately we need to create a change. We need to make people aware of what's happening to them. But then also, how do we change and how do we connect to better NHS services and resources so that we're all sort of on the same page? And it's happening, but it takes time, isn't it? And takes perseverance, and you can't just lose the overall goal along the way. A little bit earlier, you spoke about your products, the Made for Life organic products, and the formulations you worked on with Plymouth University and all of the scientists. And you chose to create an organic skincare brand. And at Coworth Park, you helped us understand what organic means in skincare. Can you relay that again here? Because I was so shocked.
Yeah, so it's an interesting thing, and as you know, I sort of can get a bit angry, and then little sweary words come out. But I'll be very, very respectful here. Is one of the things that happens with organic is that, and I think that there was shock in the room when we talked about this, Danny, wasn't there? So I asked the question, what percentage of organic ingredients do you think you need to have in an organic skincare product to label it organic? And there were all sorts of guesses, and everybody went, oh, I think it should be 100%. And then somebody said, well, it should be at least 80. And then somebody said, well, minimum of 50, but actually it's 1.75%. 1.75%. And it's an absolute travesty, because I know so many women who are going through cancer who want to look after the microbiome of their gut. They want to look after the microbiome of the skin. They want to limit things and often choose organic, which are actually, the use of organic skincare is recommended in the NICE regulations. So it's there. Yeah. And then the UK government allows the labelling of natural and organic for 1.75%. I mean, that is, I won't swear, but it's
shocking.
Outrageous, shocking, and actually should not be allowed. And the Soil Association are campaigning against this. And I'm, as you know, Made for Life Organics is B Corp accredited. We've got the King's Enterprise Award for Sustainable Development and all of that kind of thing. And I just think, gosh, I've worked really hard, and there are lots of brands, not just Made for Life. There are some brands out there who I know work their socks off to do the best. And then there are some people who just go, ooh, there's this loophole. Let me label this, and then people will buy it. So so it makes me very, very angry.
Yeah, and it's so important to know, because we want to be empowered when we make choices. And I think everyone knows a lot more about the microbiome of the gut. We've heard Tim Spector speak for the last 5 years, and lots of people know about the importance of gut health and the microbiome. We even talk about the microbiome of the vagina and the vulva now, and we know there is a balance of acidity and alkalinity that we need for that to work well. Talk to me about the microbiome of the skin. What can disrupt it? What can help it? What is it?
So, I mean, there are all sorts of disruptors to the microbiome of the skin, including radiotherapy and chemotherapy and all those types of things. All the things that I would recommend all the things that are good for you we are, I mean, you're wholesome me. So as a wholesome me, to be wholesome, if your gut's well, then generally the microbiome of the skin will improve, because you're eating nutritious food that's going to improve the microbiome of the skin above the gut, and therefore the skin. Ironically, or interestingly enough, getting out in nature improves the microbiome of the skin as well as everything else. So we're amazing. We're amazing creatures, but those two simple things are really good. My belief is that using properly organic skincare that's natural, full of nutritious ingredients, is really good for improving the microbiome of the skin. So what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is use products that are rich in plants, phytochemicals that smell amazing, that can become part of you feeling in harmony with this amazing organ, the largest organ of the body, full of all those receptors that covers us and reflects what's going on inside. So nourish your skin in the same way that you would nourish your gut. So look at the back of your pot or your jar or your whatever you're buying, and if you don't understand the ingredients on the back, be a little curious about that. But if you do, think, ooh, this sounds good, and look for ingredients that smell the product as well, because something triggers then. But having beautiful, I mean, cleaning the skin for me is the best way to improve the microbiome of the skin. Mm-hmm. So using a beautiful cleanser that really decongests the skin, number one. That's number one. And the rest will work after that.
I had a lovely doctor and menopause specialist on the podcast a few weeks back, Dr. Mandy Leonhardt, and she wrote a book, Everything You Need to Know About Your Skin, as with all of the hormonal changes from puberty to pregnancy, menopause, cancer treatment. And she echoed exactly what you just said. It starts with cleansing, she said. Don't use anything that will strip your entire face and leave your skin dry. And she recommended a really lovely oil-based cleanser, which I know is very much up your stream, Amanda. And she said
Absolutely.
exactly the same. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think our cleanser, it was quite interesting. Somebody might have heard of Joe Fairley, who was the founder of the Green Beauty Bible. And Joe was a massive advocate of our facial cleanser, which she went in the Daily Mail. It was a long time ago, but she said this is probably the best facial cleanser in the world, which we had a rapid movement there. We had to make masses of it because it was
lovely.
But I agree with what the doctor says,
Yeah.
And it's interesting because people go, often you won't have oily skin after you've gone through any treatment for cancer. It becomes very dry. It can be sensitized. You might have breakouts and acne or eczema as a result. So using, some people think we're using an oil-based cleanser it will make your skin worse. Absolutely not. The sebum of the skin is an amazing receptor. So it absolutely recognizes how much oil you need to absolutely keep the sebum of the skin in balance. So what will happen is your skin receptors will absorb what needs to be absorbed and leave what needs to be left. And then if you cleanse and you use a beautiful, clean, warm flannel afterwards to remove the cleanser, or a toner, not with alcohol in it, just saying. And you use an alcohol-free toner to clean, but one of those two things, then you've got a beautiful skin, and that's just really simple, basic stuff. So and then nourish the skin with, again, a really light oil or something in the winter months, or if you've had chemotherapy or radiotherapy or something that's made your skin very dry. I know that one of my favorite products is our skin salve with calendula, and some people use that, Danny, as literally a daily face balm as well as anything else. It's my desert island. It's my desert island product, that one.
Well, and I've got one, and I brought it here because I want to talk to you about two things: nature and connection. But it's interesting because I was really quite busy for the last few weeks, and work's been more busy, and more often than not, I'm so tired in the evening. I go into my kids' stuff and I take out their cheap, horrible micellar water, put it on a cotton pad, which I don't want because it goes into the waste. I know, I'm just going to tell you honestly. And I rub off my face, and then I don't feel good. My skin feels dry. It's micellar water, cotton pad, and then I just collapse into bed. And I know myself, it's not so much that I shouldn't use the product I'm using, because a product is a product. It's not going to make a huge difference for a few nights. I kind of feel that for me. But the problem is already of not taking the time. Like, why do I to get myself to a state in the evening where I'm so tired, I can only spend 2 seconds of cleaning my face, collapsing into bed. So I know I'm sort of missing a bit of that normal, it's not even self-care, it's just decent energy care for myself. So I'm acknowledging that and witnessing that. And every time I sort of then know I need to get back into a better routine, lots of things change. I can then eat better if I'm not as exhausted in the evening. And I think skincare really is part of that self-care routine for me. Just taking the time to ground my feet into the floor, to just wash my face properly, to cleanse it properly is part of taking care of myself, isn't it? Rather than just wipe it off, collapse into bed. The cream you just mentioned, your Skin Salve Balm, I've got it here. But I actually think, and I so love it, and I know I could use it on my face, but I really think it's kept my lymphedema's chronic infection at bay. And I can't tell you whether it's true or not, but it's quite a thick salve, isn't it? And the why I love it is because my granny is a bit like your mum was, and she's very much connected to nature. She's definitely would be called a little bit of a witch now. She forages all her own herbs. She forages all of our herbal teas in the winter, and she used to always dry calendula and make her own creams and put it in our teas, and it's such a healing plant. And in an ideal world, every year I want to grow my own calendula, Amanda, but I don't because I'm too busy. and I've got a garden and I could easily grow it, but I don't. And I don't know if anyone relates to this. You've got all these ideas, but then life sort of gets in the way. But this is quite a thick cream, so it connects me to the nature and my roots. I'm too busy to sort of create in other ways, and you bring it into your lovely bottle. But it also is really great for my cuticles, and I have a lymphedema in my left arm, and I get very annoying infections, and they need to be treated with antibiotics. And for many times, I just don't know how to stop them, and I don't sometimes have a cut. It's really upsetting me, actually. But I do use your cream to go into all of my cuticles. And I wonder if that's a bit of a barrier to help any sort of, I just do it in the evening. And I don't know if it's a barrier to sort of stop any dirt or grime or little bacteria going into my dry skin. I don't know. Maybe I'm making it up, probably making it up.
No, you're not, actually. And so I'm going to, there are a couple of things, because it's really interesting listening to you talk about your life. So what I'd say is that I'm going to ask you a question now. Do you clean your teeth at night?
I do.
Okay. So what I suggest is that part of self-care is to take a balm, whatever it is, and actually a facial cleansing balm or an oil like the doctor recommended. And you know what, Danny, if you rub that into your hands and then you pop that cleansing balm, facial cleansing balm, onto your face, you pick up your toothbrush, you clean your teeth for 2 minutes, you take off your cleanser with a warm flannel.
Oh, yeah, that's a good, yeah.
Do you know, it's just a simple hack into, I don't need to be exhausted. You can still be exhausted, but there's just something about rubbing the balm between your hands, cupping it over your nose, and just taking 2 or 3 long, deep breaths, focus on the exhalation, rub that onto your face, clean your teeth. That's taking you probably 2 minutes and 30 seconds now.
Yeah.
So I'm going to challenge you to just have a little bit of a, if I clean my teeth, then I can do this thing. So that's number one. Number two, with the Skin Solve, I've got amazing photographs that have been sent by women who've had mastectomies and used the Skin Solve on scarring post-operatively. Heartwarming. Unbelievable. And yes, if you use a balm, then it will provide a protective layer. Jeff, my hubster, is a very keen motorcyclist. So we have a ridiculous number of motorcycles in the garage, which I have named his man cave. But he actually is a mechanic and loves messing around with motorbikes. So he uses the Skin Solve Calendula to protect his hands after he's been working on motorbikes and before. So to answer your question about the Skin Solve with Calendula, it's like a multi-purpose balm. It's great for all the family because it's great for eczema, psoriasis, little nips and cuts. It's really, actually, it's brilliant. We've had 3 or 4 people send photographs in post-radiotherapy and they've used the balm. So to answer your question in a nutshell, does this help? Yes, it will. Yes, it will. And your granny is like my mummy. So there was something very connected about plants and herbs, and they're all there. Nature's is an abundant basket of beautiful herbs and flowers that have the ability to help us as human beings in many ways, whether it's walking out in a forest and breathing in the terpenes and boosting your T cells during a forest bathing session, to actually buying something that, because we are all worthy of love and self-love, that just triggers something really deep inside us and goes, oh, here I am smelling these things and just giving myself 2 minutes and 30 seconds whilst I clean my teeth.
I know I couldn't be more honest today, but it's just honesty and all that.
I think it's great because
it's just the way it is at the moment.
And a lot of women say, "Oh, I haven't got the time for this regime," and I go, "Okay, watch this and do it." And it do exactly what I've explained to you. You know, put the cleanser on, clean your teeth, then your skin's great. It's done everything it needs to do. Your teeth are lovely and clean. You're feeling fresh. You get a warm flannel. Take that cleanser off. Pop on whatever you want to pop on in the evening, whether it's a lovely rich balm for an overnight, nourishment, or whatever makes you feel good. And then focus on the exhale and go,
Yeah.
now I feel good. Now I feel good.
One thing that I think is so special about you as a person, and with your Made for Life foundation, the charity you run in Cornwall, is that so many things happen behind the scene and really no one knows about it. Like, I know you play music to your creams, which is the hippie part of you. And I also know you infuse all of your creams and all of your potions still by hand with all of the lovely nature and the plants you bring in. And of course, I guess no one will ever know when they receive it, but why are you so passionate about doing it the right way? Because you could cut so many corners and still have a good product, and still, with a good Instagram account, like so many brands out there now sell probably so many products. Why do you think is that integrity to do well and to do really good so important to you? Where's that come from? Like, it's unusual.
Where's that come from? Well, I think I probably would be the worst poker player on the planet, because my face is you can read my face very easily, probably. And I also think that I love being authentic. I don't want to make things up. So, and there's something I believe. I think energy is everything. I've had some big conversations around energy. So, yeah, I mean, Made for Life could be made in a big squirty factory, squirting things into tubes. But so I'll ask you another question. How were those cakes at Coworth Park? What were they like, Danny? Those beautiful cakes?
Oh, well, they were so delicious.
Okay.
Yeah, delicious. Lovely.
So would you know the difference between one of those cakes and something from Mr. Kipling?
Oh, yes, I think so.
So I'm using this as an explanation, or a bought cake from a supermarket. Sorry, Mr. Kipling, I'm sure you were great when you started, or whatever. But
yeah,
there's something about love and energy when you put something into making products. And I don't know, but all I know is that I have therapists who speak to me, massage therapists, who go, Amanda, we love using your products the most because it feels like there's an energy around the products. Well, I can tell you what that energy is. It's passion and love and belief that the best things in life take time. So to your point about how do we make, if anybody wants to come to Cornwall, we have an open policy. So our beautiful little lab, which we make in small batches, is full of beautiful glass jars with herbs and flowers that sit for a full biodynamic cycle. And if it's good enough for the king and good enough for Bond,
yes,
then it's good enough for us. And so they sit there. And what we know from our research with Plymouth University is that the phytochemicals are released slowly and gently into the oil. So there's already stuff happening. And the point about the music was we worked with Justin Wigan, who biosonified all the sounds from our plants and the process of making Made for Life, and biosonified it into a 20-minute soundscape. So he didn't just biosonify the sound of the making of how we make things. And I have energy and love, and things are made with care and attention. It's not great big vats of stuff. To the energy exchange, he biosonified the energy exchange between a therapist and a person receiving a treatment. Unbelievable. I mean, I've got goosebumps talking about it. So energy is everything. Nature is an amazing healer, and that's where I sit. And I have I have a son who's a composer. So I challenged him because I believe in sound. Sound is really interesting. So Ben Winwood, my lovely son, he created a a soundscape that we use, which you may have listened to when you were having your treatment, called Breathe Harmony. And Breathe Harmony was created at 432 hertz. So, and he said, "Oh, I think you're a bit weird." And then he tuned in all his instruments to 432 hertz. And he went, "I felt so relaxed." So maybe I am a hippie, but maybe I'm just a rebel. And maybe I'll tell you what my mum was. She was forward thinking, and she challenged the system. And she didn't accept in the 70s that she had to slot into a thing that she was meant to slot into. And maybe that's probably somewhere me following in her footsteps.
Thank you so much for this conversation, Amanda. I hope everyone at home can embrace their inner hippie, their inner rebel, and their inner authentic self, because these are the three key words that resonate so much with me every time I've met you. That sort of, I want to be that inner hippie. Everyone has that, right? I want to really be that rebel. And I think we will all do really well together if we can be a bit more rebellious in the right way, and always to be authentic throughout these processes, and to allow all of our parts to be whatever they are, isn't it? And not to be that good girl so long. I have that feeling that for much of your life, you were very authentic, Amanda, and not so much trying to be the good girl. And I hope for all of us listening, we can embrace our inner Amandas a little bit more. And I hope we can collaborate loads in the future. And I will definitely come down and watch your lovely potions made one day. That would be amazing.
Well,
thank you.
Very welcome. You'd be very welcome. And I'd say to anybody who's listening, remember to be three things: warrior, lover, magician.
I am not sure about you, but I just feel so inspired by Amanda's authenticity, by her calm, and by her wanting to do the right thing. I think that is really, really inspiring, and not trying to cut corners for a bigger gain and a bigger outcome. I feel that is truly the essence of everything we're trying to do with our small organization. And Amanda is truly inspiring to me as a person, as a businesswoman, on so many different levels. I really hope that I can connect and work with Amanda over the many next month. And she doesn't know it, but she's definitely a mentor. Many mentors in life, they don't know they're your mentor, but she's definitely one for me. If you want to try one of Amanda's amazing products, the Made for Life products are absolutely beautiful. When I first went onto their website, I thought, oh, that's a little bit expensive. And do I really need it? But learning so much about the processes, about what is in the products, it was mind-blowing to hear how little bit of an organic ingredient needs to be in a product for it to be called organic. And I really know with all my heart that Amanda's products are full of nature, full of love, full of the right energy, even a bit of music and sound, which is totally the hippie way of Amanda, isn't it? But connect that to all of the science behind her products. It's been really beautiful for me to allow myself to tap into that. And I hope you go and check out Amanda's website and the Made for Life products, and you have a little nose and a little browse. We also have a discount code for you. It's MENO20, MENO20, capital letters, MENO20. Whether you call it a treat, go and treat yourself. I know for me, this is an essential ingredient now to keep my lymphedema at bay, or one of the tools to really stop those infections. Go and have a little look. This was an inspiring conversation for me, and I really hope you also can channel your inner Amanda a little bit over the next week until I chat to you again.